I will never forget the night my mother looked me straight in the eyes and said, "You were never supposed to happen. You are the family mistake." I was 17 years old, standing in our kitchen, the smell of burnt coffee in the air. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. It wasn't just what she said, it was how she said it. Cold, emotionless, like she had been waiting years to finally let those words out. And the worst part? My father stood right there beside her. He didn't defend me. He didn't say a single word. He just looked away, like I wasn't even worth the trouble. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just walked to my room, packed a small bag, and made a decision that would change my life forever. I was leaving, and I was never coming back. But here's the thing about pain. It doesn't destroy you. It transforms you. And the girl who walked out of that house with nothing became a woman who built everything. Years later, those same people who called me a mistake, they came crawling back to my door, crying, begging, broken. And what happened next? Well, let me take you back to where it all began. Growing up, I always knew something was different about me. My older sister, Megan, was the golden child. She had the best clothes, the biggest birthday parties, the loudest praise from our parents. And me? I was the quiet one in the corner, the one who was always told to be grateful, the one whose achievements were never celebrated. When Megan got straight A's, there was a family dinner. When I got straight A's, my mother barely looked up from her phone. When Megan needed help for college applications, our parents handed it over with smiles. When I asked for help with a school trip, I was told we couldn't afford it. But somehow, Megan always had new shoes, new bags, new everything. I used to tell myself it was all in my head. Maybe I was being too sensitive. Maybe I just needed to try harder, be better, be more lovable. But no matter what I did, I was always second, always less, always invisible. I didn't understand why, not until that night in the kitchen, not until my mother finally told me the truth. I was an accident, a pregnancy she never wanted, a reminder of a time in her life she wished she could forget. And just like that, everything made sense. The coldness, the distance, the way she looked at me like I was a burden she never asked for. I wasn't imagining it, I was living it. After my mother's confession, I didn't wait for an apology. I knew it would never come. I packed one bag, some clothes, a few photos, the $53 I had saved from tutoring younger kids after school. I left a note on my bed, just 3 words: "Don't look for me." I walked out at midnight. No phone, no car, no plan. Just a burning fire inside me that refused to be put out. The first few months were brutal. I stayed at a shelter, worked double shifts at a diner, slept on buses when I had nowhere else to go. But I never stopped. I studied at night, applied for scholarships, took every opportunity that came my way. People doubted me, laughed at me, told me I'd never make it. But every time I wanted to quit, I heard my mother's voice in my head: "You are the family mistake." And I used that pain as fuel, because the best revenge, it's not destruction, it's success. By 23, I had graduated with honors. By 25, I had my first real job at a marketing firm. By 28, I had started my own business. It wasn't easy. There were nights I cried myself to sleep, mornings I woke up wondering if I was enough, but I kept going. My company grew. My name became known. I was featured in magazines, invited to speak at conferences. I built a life that no one could take from me. And through it all, I never once reached out to my family. Not a phone call, not a message, nothing. They didn't deserve to know who I had become. They had already decided who I was a long time ago. But life has a funny way of bringing things full circle. One rainy evening, I was sitting in my living room, candles lit, soft music playing, a glass of wine in my hand. And then came the knock. I opened the door, and my heart stopped. There they were, my mother, my father, and Megan, standing in the rain, eyes red, faces pale, looking at me like they had seen a ghost. My mother spoke first. "Please," she whispered, "we need your help." I didn't move. I didn't invite them in. I just stood there, letting the silence stretch between us. They told me everything. The family business had collapsed. Megan's husband had left her. My father had health problems. They were drowning in debt. And now, after all these years, they came to me, the mistake, the invisible child, the one they threw away. They wanted money, support, a second chance. My mother even had the nerve to say, "We're still family." I looked at her for a long moment, and then I spoke. Family doesn't call their child a mistake. Family doesn't stand by while their daughter is broken. You didn't want me when I had nothing. You don't get to claim me now that I have everything. I watched the color drain from her face. "I'm not doing this for revenge," I continued. "I'm doing this for the 17-year-old girl who cried herself to sleep every night, wondering why she wasn't enough. She deserved better, and I'm finally giving her that." Then I closed the door, and I never looked back. Some people may think I was heartless, that I should have forgiven them, that I should have let them back in. But here's what I've learned. Forgiveness is for you. It's about releasing the anger that holds you hostage. And I have forgiven them in my own heart. But forgiveness doesn't mean access. It doesn't mean pretending the past didn't happen. It doesn't mean opening your doors to people who only see your value when they need something from you. You are not obligated to keep toxic people in your life just because you share blood. Your worth is not determined by those who failed to see it. And your past, it doesn't define your future. I was called a mistake, but I became a masterpiece. Not because I proved them wrong, but because I finally proved something to myself. I am enough. I always was.